I don't usually do this, but can I get a side of ranch?
Hey, you know what this needs? A little ranch.
I actually specifically remember asking for a side of ranch. Yeah.
Can I get some ranch?
Oh, everything is wonderful. But can I get a side of ranch?
That's perfect.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let me just first say that I saw you posting about this podcast, and I hadn't gotten a chance to listen to it yet, so I didn't know what it was about.
Yeah.
And then when I reached out to you and we were figuring out the details for this, and I realized, I was like, that is the perfect fucking name for a podcast because it's always ranch.
It's always ranch.
And don't get me wrong, I love ranch. I'm a big ranch guy.
Yeah.
Wings, pizza, French fries even. I'll put anything on ranch or ranch on anything.
Yeah.
And, but it's always, can I get some ranch?
Yeah.
It's never, do you guys have ranch?
No.
It's always, can I get some ranch?
Yeah.
Or do you think I could have some ranch?
Yeah. Or I need ranch with this.
Right.
That
Yeah.
would have been good too, but
Only if it comes with ranch. Podcast.
yeah. It's funny when I like I have people intro me on stage like, "Oh, you can listen to our podcast. Can I get some ranch?" And I love the confusion of people's faces when I get up there and they're like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
And I'm always like, yeah, it's just a podcast where I talk about different ranches and the colors and
Hidden
tastes.
Valley.
Yeah.
Kens. Do you have a favorite ranch? Do you like ranch, or
I
is
do.
it more just about the pet peeve? Okay.
No, I do like ranch. I don't have like a specific, but I love restaurant ranch. Like I like a homemade ranch.
Same.
The best. Where did I get one though recently? Trader Joe's has a ranch and it's sick.
Really?
It's disgusting.
Oh, like bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, okay.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
And it's like it has a weird flavor to it. I think it's like fat free or something, obviously. But it almost ruined ranch for me. I was like, this is so gross.
I think I know the one you're talking about.
It's a blue label.
Yeah, because whenever I go to Trader Joe's, I specifically then go to Ralph's or Vaughn's.
Totally. You have
get
to.
some other ranch, like some Hidden Valley or something.
You have to. You can't get like they don't have a good ranch.
Their ranch is bad.
It's a bad one.
There are some things you just can't get there.
Yeah.
There are some things you can only get there.
Exactly.
That frozen orange chicken. Oh.
Oh my! The bowl.
What?
Is it the bowl? The
No,
orange
no,
or the bag
the
of
bag.
Oh, that one's great too.
Holy shit, that stuff is good.
Dude.
I need them to make it in smaller
Small.
quantities. If they had a bag that was like one bag, 800 calories, I could do it.
I know.
But I can't get it because the one right now is like 1,600 calories, and I just will eat it all.
They have a frozen bowl that's like the orange chicken and that one's pretty good.
I've seen that. I think I've tried it. It has rice in it, right?
It does, yeah.
I don't know why that just doesn't.
It doesn't do
much for me. And I also, because the bag orange chicken it's so crispy.
It is so much crispier.
And the sauce is kind of vinegary.
Yeah.
Oh.
Damn it.
God, that shit. Put some ranch on that. How about that?
I would.
Do I get a bottle of ranch? At
Yeah,
the end,
yeah,
by the
that's
way?
actually the gift.
If this goes well. Here, you did good.
No, if
Parting
it goes
gift.
if it goes bad, I give you the Trader Joe's ranch.
Okay. Oh, right.
Yeah, and
that's,
I go
that's how I know if this episode's coming out or not.
Oh my God. Is it Tomlinson?
Tomlinson.
Okay. JT Tomlinson, everyone. I figured I needed to get that in there somewhere.
You're absolutely right. That is my name.
I
wasn't gonna say it.
He wasn't gonna say it the whole time.
I'm JT Tomlinson. Just at the very end. Cue the outro.
Yeah. As it's fading off, I'm like, we're done. He's like, wait.
Yeah. You're like, what was your name again? Hard Out.
It just cuts off. I don't even play the exit music. That's hilarious. JT, how long have you been working in restaurants?
So I've been working in restaurants combined probably close to 4 or 5 years now.
Wow, nice.
The first place I worked at was a sandwich shop in Henderson, Nevada, which is a suburb of Vegas. Yeah, and that place was fine.
What were you there for?
I was actually staying with a friend for a few months.
Okay, nice.
I had famously got kicked out of my house the summer after my first year of college.
Oh, nice.
Because my mom, bless her heart, she and I have a great relationship today. But coming back she cares about me and loves me a lot. And in some parents, that can manifest as what would occasionally be described as sort of helicopter tendencies.
Yes.
And overprotective, which is fine. It comes from a good place. I know that now. But me going to USC for a year and like joining a frat and doing all that stuff and having all this freedom to do all the drugs and whatever else I want to do,
Yep.
Going back to
Especially
my
in LA, where it's
seriously.
probably so easy to get all that.
Yeah, going back to my house for a summer did not go well. I was like, hey, I'm allowed to do whatever I want,
Wait, is that up in Santa Barbara?
right? Yeah. So I went back home for the summer. That lasted about 2 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then I ended up going out to stay with one of my friends I had made
Nice.
at school who was from Vegas.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I went out and stayed with him. And that place, I have no complaints about that place. There was one guy who did a bunch of, I think it was Molly. He showed up to work and he had to leave and go to the hospital because he was so dehydrated. And so we just make fun of him. I'm still friends with the guy I was staying with, and we talk about him all the time.
That's hilarious.
He was always trying to get people. He had like 4 or 5 Xboxes that he was always trying to sell. We go, what's up, Bobby? His name was Bobby. And we'd go, hey, Bobby. He'd be like, hey, man, do you want to buy my Xbox? No, the same answer as yesterday. Dude.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
They're just empty boxes.
Yeah, right? They probably were. That's probably where he got all the drugs. He wasn't making any money working at that fucking place. I'll tell you that right now.
So it was a sandwich shop.
Yeah.
Oh man, I've had my fair share. I worked at a Quiznos, I think, for 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
I literally trained and I was like, no,
Yeah.
I'm done with this.
I can see that.
Yeah.
What were you doing, like cashier stuff?
I don't
or
even know. I
is it
think I
all-
was making. I think you just kind of do everything. This was
Yeah.
literally like 15 years ago.
Okay, I haven't been to a Quiznos in probably that long.
I think they shut down. Then they're like, we're done. We're out of here.
Are they? Do they still exist or not? I feel like in places like Barstow, they must.
Yeah.
Like shitty
They do.
places.
Well, I'm from Ohio, and they're they thrive there. They're like
Quiznos City, Ohio is like a town.
Exactly. Although, my hometown just got its first Trader Joe's.
Oh wow!
I know.
Progressive.
I know. They're
That's
super
huge for Ohio.
huge. It's
Oh my
huge.
God, Ohio's gonna be blue again in
Yeah.
2024.
Trader Joe's changing the states one
Yeah.
store at a time.
Next thing, there's gonna be a Whole Foods,
Oh my
and then
god.
an Equinox. Yeah, you just watch out.
Oh my god. I go. I hope, because I hate going home.
What part of not that I know the parts, but what part of Ohio?
Cleveland. I'm like a suburb
Heard of it?
Cleveland.
Heard of it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's one of those places there.
Cleve lived there, didn't he?
It was Cleve's land, and then they were just like Cleve land.
Really?
No.
It was named after the president. I would be my guess.
Grover Cleveland.
Grover.
Yeah.
Which is funny because it's not. You'd think it would be a land named after Cleve, but it's actually a land named after Cleveland.
Yeah.
It's named after a guy who was named after a place.
Yeah. And you know what? Not only him, but also James Garfield is from there as well.
Oh, really?
And they only have like a house named after him.
Really?
Yeah. He got like a house in like an elementary school, and then fucking Grover Cleveland got fucking the whole city.
You got the whole city.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I know.
The main thing I know about Cleveland is that the river there caught on fire in the 60s.
Oh yeah. It probably did.
The Cuyahoga River. Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You're correct. I mean, it could probably catch on fire now, to be honest with you.
I'm sure. Well, because it was so full of oil.
Well, yeah.
I think this was before a lot of the regulations on that stuff. Now the regulations aren't better; they're just different now.
They
just
are.
dump it in the ocean instead of the river.
Yeah, exactly.
Salt water only.
Yeah, it'll tear it up. I know. Cleveland, like Lake Erie, is infamously known for being like the dirtiest of the lakes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
Is that why it's called Lake Erie?
Yeah, because it's
so
eerie to
gross.
go. Yeah, yeah.
What do you do? What do you do like growing up in Ohio?
I mean, honestly, I really loved it. This is gonna sound redneck as fuck. I can
Yeah.
already tell. But you did a lot of like. In the summertime, we went to the lake. We had the lake, so that was cool.
That's sick.
And it's not like dirty enough where you can't swim in it. It's just like it's
Yeah.
known to be dirty. But so we'd have the lake during the summer, and then in the winter it would snow. So we'd do skiing and snowboarding and like drinking just a lot of alcohol
Nice.
and a lot of drugs. I didn't do a lot of drugs. I couldn't, but I watched a lot of people do drugs.
Yeah, which is just as much fun.
It was just as much fun. The one drug I've never done. I can't do it, but I've always wanted to is cocaine. And it bums me out because all my friends would do it, my family would do it, and I was like,
Really?
that's like the idea of just being able to stay up without having to feel super fucked up was so ideal to me, and I was like, what the heck?
Yeah. Cocaine is it's the thing they don't tell you about cocaine is that in order to be able to stay up and not feel so sad is you have to keep doing more of it,
Exactly.
which makes you more just like tired and coked out, really.
Yeah.
The feeling of being coked out, I can only describe as being like, you know the SpongeBob movie? You know when they go from being animated to being like a live thing and there's a sponge and they're all dry under the heat lamp? That's what it's like when it's like 10 a.m. the next day. You've just been doing cocaine. You can't fall asleep. And you just like your eyes feel like they're made out of sandpaper. Cocaine is the best, but then it's so good that it's the worst.
I've witnessed my friends would all be doing cocaine and I'd just be like in the corner like with a cup of coffee like this is mine, you know,
Right.
just so that I can hang with them long enough.
Yeah, my morning crack.
Yeah. They're like, Heather, it's 9 o'clock at night. I know, but the night's gonna be long.
You're like, I'm just crazy. Like
I was like, I'm really adventurous. Like I'd fucking get like the grains out and like chop them into lines just to feel cool. Yeah.
Just to be spontaneous.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
But yeah, so a lot of drinking, a lot of people would do a lot of drugs. Like there should be more to do, but that's kind of it. And like it was fun. I like was very like I'd play it in the woods all the time. Like
The woods.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like we had woods. Like
That sounds fun.
it is fun. Like you would just like trees. I got lost in the woods once.
Yeah.
For like me and my stepsister at the time, we got lost in the woods for like hours, and my dad had to call the cops and come find us.
Oh no.
But we were like chilling. We were like,
Yeah.
all right. And then all of a sudden I like looked down and I see my grandma running after us, and I was like, we were gone too long.
Bad. Yeah, when grandma finds you.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's the kind of shit that would get down in my hometown.
That's nuts.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure I don't know what growing up in Santa Barbara would be like.
Well, it's mostly beach.
Yeah.
That's kind of the main attraction there.
Yeah.
And it's weird being in your 20s and going back to a hometown like that because what do? I don't drink.
Yeah.
And there's not, other than going to the beach, there's not really anything there for me.
Right.
And I like going to the beach there when I'm home because it's not like the beaches in LA.
Right.
It's just there aren't as many people.
Yeah.
And they all are just generally nicer and more agreeable.
Yeah.
And they, you know.
And the beach itself is nicer, probably.
The beaches, well, they're not, a lot of the beaches in Santa Barbara are kind of rocky and sticky, but they are, I mean, they're obviously really beautiful.
Rocky and sticky.
And the parking is free. Yeah, there's just lots of rocks and sticks everywhere. It's like, you know, when you go to like Newport Beach and it's just sand, like you get in the water and it's just sand the whole time. It's like in Malibu. You know how it's all rocks and shit?
Oh.
It's like that in Santa Barbara.
When you said
At some
rocky and
places.
sticky, I imagine like sticky rocks, like they stuck together.
Yeah. Or just
grossed me
everything's,
out.
you're getting like syrup. Makes me think of the tables at like Denny's that are all sticky and shit. Everything's about food. It just always circles back.
It always.
But no, growing up in Santa Barbara was really cool. It was one of those things where my parents always told me, you won't understand how great it is till you leave.
Of course.
I came down to school in LA, famously great weather, and I was like, this weather sucks.
Yeah.
It's hot. Why
Yeah.
is it so hot? It was like 80.
Yeah.
Because in
It's
Santa
funny.
Barbara, it goes to 70, 75.
Oh, that's true, because you're a little bit north.
Yeah.
It's funny. People in my hometown, they say you never know how great it is until you leave. So,
Yeah.
oh wait, that's the same saying. No,
Yeah.
you never know how great it is until you stay gone forever. And then you realize it's never been great. I don't know.
Oh,
There's no.
gotcha.
Basically, I'm saying it's like we don't have that same feeling.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm very lucky to have grown up there.
Yeah, that sounds
Really
pretty
nice
cool. I've
place.
never been to Santa Barbara, but I know people that have lived there and they love it, and it sounds cool. Isn't there a college in Santa Barbara?
UCSB.
Yeah.
Which is kind of in the northern side. They have a little town of Isla Vista.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Is like the college town, which is so much fun.
Yeah.
And I didn't go there a lot in high school, but I have had some friends who like went to college there.
Right.
I kind of wanted to just get the heck out of Dodge.
Yeah.
Or I would have
feel
gone
that.
there because it's so pretty.
Yeah.
There are people like college students that live in houses like on a cliff, and then you could walk down all these stairs and go to the beach. It's beautiful.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That sounds nice.
Oh yeah.
I lived and I went to school I dropped out of college twice because
Nice.
that's how educated I am.
Okay.
And one of them, I went to Akron, University of Akron, and it was interesting. We had nothing pretty there. There was nothing pretty. It was,
Really?
Yeah. There was like the campus was nice, but if you went one block off the campus, it was like you were in parts that you shouldn't be in at all. Like And it was weird how that like surrounded a college because it's like, don't you think they'd try to make it just like the whole area a little safer? No, like
You would think so.
literally the next block,
Wow.
like shootings would happen all the time.
Damn.
It was crazy.
We had so at USC around LA is famously known for kind of being in South Central.
Of course.
And it's weird because it's the private school. Like UCLA is in Bel Air.
Yeah.
But it's a public school, and I will always be indignant about that.
Yeah.
Because USC, it was a similar vibe. You kind of go off campus in a particular direction. Granted, there's security for like a mile in every direction, which is really nice.
Yeah.
But if you're one of the stupid white kids at USC, which you probably are,
Yeah.
the whole picture of like sorority girls where they're all blonde and look the same, that's USC.
Is it really?
It's so real at that place. It's unbelievable how real
That's
it is.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Wait, you guys, I'm trying to think because I know I've driven down like is the one that's like closer to Westwood. Is that UCLA? Okay. Okay.
USC is like Figueroa and Jefferson.
Okay. Because I've driven past both, but I've driven more around UCLA.
Right.
But I've never really traveled. But there's a weird feeling to me that's like, yeah, you are kind of in South Central, but like, I feel like the crime in South Central, like, I don't know how I'm gonna make this sound not weird, but like, it's like they're like, we don't care about you. Like, we got our own shit to deal with. We'll deal with it over here. Like,
Yeah.
if you, as long as you're not trying to stir up trouble, like, walk down the street. But like, for where I was, it was like, no, it was just you were fair game if you
Really?
stepped into that block.
Yeah. I never felt unsafe down
Yeah.
there, which is nice. And it's weird too because there's like the campus is really nice.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense that it exists in that area.
I know it is, or it's weird that that area hasn't been like gentrified because of it.
Well, it's getting there, but there's still like they have this whole thing like the USC Village, which is off campus. It's like a shopping center and there's housing, but it's really nice and it looks like it's part of the campus.
Yeah.
And it
Oh,
more or
wait
less
a
is.
minute! I totally have driven past UCLA, or I mean USC. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry, I just came back.
No, it's all good, but it's weird because next to that there'll be places that like I lived in that are some of them are student housing.
Yeah.
Like what's going on over here?
Oh, you're like, this is also Section 8 housing.
Yeah. So
But okay, so what was your first serving job, like where you were in a restaurant?
okay, so I worked. I can say the name or no?
Yeah, I don't care.
I worked at this place. I have nothing bad to say about any of the people who worked there. I worked at a restaurant on the pier in Santa Barbara
Okay.
called Moby Dick,
Oh no.
and it's there's a big whale. I mean, but it's a beautiful. It's kind of like it's a pricier, relatively higher end restaurant. It's not like super fine dining, but it's I loved working there.
Nice.
And I worked there the summer after my sophomore year of college, so it was very, it was summertime.
Yep.
It's out on the water, like above the water.
Yeah.
It felt like working on a cruise ship. It was beautiful.
Nice.
And I'll never forget. This is like one of the most traumatic experiences of my life, which is I'm privileged to be able to say that. But my first week working there, they hired me without any serving experience. I'd worked in a sandwich shop for a couple months, and I'd worked at a hardware store for like a year.
Did you like lie on your resume, or did you just straight up and they're like, well, whatever?
No, yeah, they were kind of like, yeah, we'll give him a shot.
Okay.
I guess he seems personable enough, or whatever. and they gave me a shot, and it worked out. It went really well.
Yeah.
But my first week I was training, and I'd never carried a tray before, and it was like a breakfast. They would do like coffee and stuff for breakfast in the morning too. So you'd have coffee and milk and stuff on there, but then you'd have beers and stuff. And I will never forget that one of my first like 2 or 3 days carrying a tray by myself. I think I was still in training. I knocked something over as I was putting drinks on the table, and I spilled the whole tray all over this old Chinese woman. It was. I can barely laugh about it now, almost 4 years later. It was a waking nightmare.
Oh my God. What happened?
It just after, or how did it? It was just like everything. I lost my balance. A Heineken knocked in it. It was mostly Heineken and milk that got on this lady.
What a terrible combination.
It was, all that happened afterward was what do you do in that situation?
Literally.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
And then you start setting down the other drinks. No, my tray has a puddle of liquid on it.
Yeah.
I can't, none of these other drinks are present, and I wouldn't do that anyway.
Yeah.
But how do you apologize?
Yeah.
It's not like, sometimes you like accidentally step on somebody's toe or something under a table because you're trying to get the angle.
Right.
It's not like that. I don't remember what they did, but I just remember the manager could see that I didn't know what was happening, and he kind of was like, just go sit down for a few minutes, take a breather, regain your composure because I was a mess. And I was like, do I get fired? What happens now? Like, do they throw me off the pier into the water? Like, is that, everybody that works there grabs a limb and they're like, all right, one. Yeah. And they throw me and I go, bye.
Do I have to go shopping for a new outfit for this woman now?
Yeah.
Is that what I do?
Do I just like, or do I just like undress her and then bathe? No,
yeah.
Takes a weird intimate sexual tilt.
It's like the movie Ghost. All of a sudden, you're just fucking holding clay and like, what is happening right now?
Yeah, music comes on and like all the windows are covered and it's just me and this lady.
Oh my god!
She must have been at least 70 too.
Oh my god!
And she didn't speak any English, which I think was probably good.
Yeah.
There was like one person in their group who was kind of the diplomat, like spoke English.
How big of a table was it?
Oh.
Like, was it a family?
I think it was probably 8 people. Yeah, it was definitely a family.
Wow.
And they were like on vacation together in the United States. Yeah, it was.
You gave that woman the best memory
of
why she never is coming back to the United States.
The only comforting thing about that is that, you know, she was older, so she's not going to be alive to hate me for that much longer. She may have already passed on. Bless her heart.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Oh my God.
You know what though? Let me give you a little. You're not the only. So many people.
Yeah.
God, knock on wood.
Yeah.
I have 100% spilled a tray. I have never spilled anything on a guest. God damn it.
Yeah.
I'm like, seriously, like, don't fucking fuck with me now.
Oh yeah, I know.
Because it is. I mean, I've been doing this so long that like I'm comfortable, but I can get cocky.
Oh yeah.
But I have a similar story. The first job I ever had was BJ's, and I lied on my resume and said I've served before, and I didn't.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you make up the name of a place?
Yeah, I just used places in Ohio that I knew they would never, and then I put my friends as the references. So if they called and I told my friends like, hey, if you get a call from so and so, it's for a job, lie for me, and they're like, cool, got you.
Was it the name of a real place and then your friend's phone number, or was it a made up?
Yeah, well, I looked up because I worked in a restaurant before, but I actually worked in the back of the house. I was a
Gotcha.
I was a pastry chef.
Okay.
So I did, and one of my, like, literally my best friend back home, he was the sous chef. So I was just like, yo, Steve, if they call, like, just lie for me, you know?
Okay.
And then the next one was a restaurant that was already closed, but like it was a name, and I put my other friend as the reference, and, you know, because the guy, I was elaborate with this.
Oh, I love that.
Shouts out to my grandma, who's the one that told me to do this, by the way.
Yeah.
So I lied, and I was like, okay, I applied to BJ's and I got the job, and I kind of knew that they were going to train me anyway. Mm-hmm. But also I'd never used a tray before. And I remember I had a tray and it had like a root beer, a beer, and then like maybe some water or something like that.
Yeah.
I was walking to a table and I don't know what happened, and it all spilled on me.
Oh.
And we had to wear white button-ups then.
Oh my God.
So I had to go through the rest of my shift with just this giant brown stain on the middle of my shirt. And it was, but you know what? How did you feel after that first time you spilled something? Did you feel like it was almost like you had kind of PTSD, and then you're like, oh, I'm a superhero now?
Well, because like it's never going to happen again, you
yeah.
mean? Well, no, because so I think the thing was, I mean, here's the thing. Now, when I'm walking around with a tray, I feel fine. Like, because it's, the place I work at now, we don't serve hard alcohol, so the most challenging thing I'm going to have to carry is like a pint glass filled with like a draft beer.
Oh, okay.
Which if there's, head on the beer, like the foam at the top,
right,
it's not going to spill because it's kind of thick.
Yeah.
So like I have no problem with that now, and I'll be bending over, picking stuff up, or like basically twirling around to like throw something away or whatever I'm doing.
Yeah.
But at that point, I didn't have the
understanding of the
balance. Emotional fortitude in myself to feel good about it. Yeah, the understanding of the balance. And so actually a couple months later, I guess my point is, in the interim between instances 1 and 2, or maybe I should say incidents, there was kind of a lack of confidence because I was like, this hasn't happened again, but I know that it could.
Yeah.
And we had these beer glasses that were pretty tall.
Oh God.
So I only worked there for like 3 months, so this would have been probably a month or 2 later. Well, because it was just summer ended and I moved back.
Oh, right,
yeah,
right,
I moved
right.
back for school. I didn't get fired, thank God. So I went to just drop a beer off at a table, and it was probably 4 or 5 people. It was like a couple, probably in their 40s, and like their 3 kids who were younger, probably like around 6 to 8 or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was dropping something else off. Like I was putting something, and the last thing I had on the tray was the beer. And instead of turning and holding, the tray on the side away from the table and then reaching with my God-given long arms that I'm blessed to have, instead of using my brain to use my arms, I held it in front of me. And there's a guy kind of sitting in front of me as I'm facing the table, and I just leaned forward, and it went the whole fucking thing went all over him. And and I'm standing there going, just mortified. Because also, I was making I'd never made that much money at this place. I was walking over there with like at least $150 a day in tips. Because it was summer on the pier, Santa Barbara. There's a shit ton of people. And I was in the weeds every day, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
I would be exhausted after like 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
But I'd make like $200.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is it. And I was just mortified. And I look up at the guy. He didn't care. He didn't give a shit at all. Was he like
wringing his shirt out in his mouth? He's like,
no. Well, it wasn't like that. He wasn't that enthusiastic.
Yeah.
He wasn't as enthusiastic as I would have hoped.
Yeah.
But no, he didn't. I mean, and it got all over him. He was just kind of wearing like an old beat up tank top anyway.
Oh, okay.
But I think they had been at the beach. He was like, well, we're just going down to the beach anyway after. Like, I don't care about these clothes. He was like, just bring me another one.
Yeah.
I was like, you got to be like, thank you so much.
I can't believe you spilt twice.
Yeah. And well, I didn't tell anyone about that one because there were no managers. I remember looking around like, he's fine with it. Do I need to tell somebody? Because I felt like if I told somebody at that point, they probably were going to fire me.
Yeah.
And I've still never gotten fired from any job. I was like, I don't want to get fired at my first job. I'll never work in a restaurant ever.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be JT spills his drinks. I don't want that to be my nickname. It's going to follow me around this industry forever. I'm going to have to move to Europe and change my name. So I didn't tell anybody. I remember asking one of the other servers who had been there for like a year or two.
Yeah.
Do I need to tell anyone? He was like, I don't know, man. I don't think so. I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm not telling a soul. And I never did. The guy was he was very gracious. He was like, just give me a free one. Like, go replace this one, obviously.
Yeah.
And then bring me a free one, which is not something I would ever do.
Right.
But the bartender was my friend. And I was like, well, I could lose my job for this, or I could lose it for spilling on the guy.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lose it for just getting a free beer for a guy. They'd probably just reprimand, whatever. But they never found out.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Thank
wow.
God.
I can't believe it's happened.
And also, if the guy looks wet, like at the restaurant, it could just be because he was at the beach.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, it was perfect.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Of the percentage of times that servers in general have spilt on people, the fact that you have done that twice.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I've never been spilt on while I was at a restaurant either, though. So
yeah, me either.
That's funny. They shockingly, they probably would have reprimanded you more for giving out the free beer.
Oh, I know.
It's crazy trying to give away free alcohol. It's like restaurants nowadays won't even like comp it half the time.
No, I know. No, there was this guy at the place. So the place I work at now is very laid back. It's like a Southern barbecue joint, and I love. It's the best job I've ever had. I love working
What's
there.
it called?
It's called Spring Street Smokehouse. Shout out. The food there is fucking amazing.
Shout out Spring Street Smokehouse.
Yeah, it's incredible.
In where is it?
Oh, it's in Chinatown.
Chinatown.
Yeah. It's right by where I live. I love working there. It's right by Dodger Stadium.
Nice.
It's just a great spot.
Dope.
It's amazing. But yeah, no, it's there's one guy that comes in and great guy, but he's a bigger guy.
Yeah.
And so we don't really put a limit on like how much he'll drink because also he's in there several times a week.
Right.
And we know what he can
handle.
Right. And we also can tell when he's starting to get a little.
Yeah.
And at that point he's probably, he's generally going, you got to cut me off.
Yeah.
So
that's true. It's funny. Like a lot of pressure kind of gets put on like servers and bartenders in that aspect because like we do have that control of being like, well, do I feel like serving them? Do I not? And then you do, or you, but then it's like, then you have to think like, how inebriated are they right now to when, if I tell them I have to cut them off, are they going to get crazy?
Well, and because you don't necessarily know what kind of a drunk somebody is.
Exactly.
If they're a happy drunk and they're just going to go, oh, why can't you? Oh man, I guess it's fine. Or if they're going to get like angry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then, they might ask to talk to the manager and the manager might not necessarily back you up. Is the other thing, which is the worst.
It's the worst.
Yeah, because now you look stupid, and now you're probably not getting a tip on all this work you've been doing.
Yeah, there's nothing like a good old management team who does not stick up for their staff and instead just always sides with the customer. That's the best.
Yeah, No, and I don't know. I'm very like, I care about giving really good service. That's really
Yeah.
important to me, but I don't know. It's hard to strike a balance. I don't feel like I've ever worked at a place where the management didn't side with the servers, but
Oh,
I have worked at places with with coworkers that I was like, what are you doing?
Oh yeah.
And then they would get indignant when the manager would side with the customer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can't feel good about that. You didn't check on them for 15 minutes.
Right.
That's your fault.
Yeah.
And you weren't even busy. Like, yeah, I saw you in the break room eating a breadstick.
Right. There's people like that at my job now. Like they're good servers, but like I feel like all of it, we have like this internal clock as a server. So like even when it's not your table, you see them get sat, and even like it's not like we're doing this on purpose. It's just like subconsciously in your mind, you're like, I've walked past that table twice and they haven't been greeted. This has been like 3 minutes, and like you start panicking because. And then the server like nonchalantly walks down from, like you said, like the break room after eating, and you're like, you got sat like twice, and they're like, all right, cool. And then they don't go to those tables.
Where's the urgency?
Yeah, nowhere.
Yeah.
That stresses me out so bad.
I hate that. And the place I work at now, when I'm there, it's a smaller place.
Yeah.
And there are only 3 servers that work there right now, actually.
Oh, wow.
So when I'm working, I'm kind of the main. I'm really the only server. I'm also the busser and the host.
Oh shit.
So when people walk in, unless like I was doing something else, in which case the owner, who's always like, he'll greet people and sit them down.
Yeah.
I'm the host too, so I know that they're there, and
Yeah.
I've already touched base with them.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I bring them in, I sit them down, give them the menu, give them the whole spiel. They're like,
Yeah.
"We're ready."
Yeah.
Which is great, because then it's like, let's
Love
get
that.
it going. Oh, that's perfect. Unless you're really busy, in which case it's like, guys, take a minute,
Yeah.
please. Just
Yeah.
take some time.
Yeah, if a server's ever standing at your table, and you're doing the whole like, I think we might be ready, and they go, seriously, take your time, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Let them go.
Give them a minute.
Yeah, let
Yeah.
them go, please.
I'll never forget, there was one guy on one of the busiest days I've ever worked at this place. And he, super great guy, very charismatic. He wouldn't stop talking. And if I'd run into him on the street, I'm sure I would have loved it.
Yeah.
He was super cheerful, but I'm watching people walk in the door.
Yeah.
I know also that like when the other servers show up, if I'm too busy and I have to ask them for help, now I have to split all these tips with them.
Yes.
And I'm going, dude, okay, so do you want which kind of ribs do you want?
Yeah.
Please. Like learning how to break that off is a skill.
It's such
But
a skill.
some people, obviously unbeknownst to them, are really good at not letting you.
Do that.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I have a lady similar. She is a regular at my job, and she comes in like later lunchtime usually, and it's always her and her dog, and she'll sit and you say one thing to strike up the smallest conversation, and she's like talking to you, and you're looking at, and you could even do the whole like, all right, I'll be right back, and she'll just start talking into something else.
Yep.
I've literally walked away from tables being
Really?
like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
And
You
it's
gotta.
usually people that aren't really paying attention enough to care.
Right. Which is just the saving grace of that situation.
Yeah. I'm like, this lady's had 3 glasses of wine. She's 85 years old. She doesn't give a
Right.
fuck
She
if I
doesn't-
walk
she doesn't
away.
know where she is.
She has no idea.
Yeah. Cut her off.
Yeah, exactly.
Or she keels over.
Yeah, honestly, that or fucking ask for another glass of wine.
Right.
Yeah, there's so many skills that servers have that they're so undervalued to people, but like they're amazing. Like,
Oh, yeah.
we do a lot of shit within a shift that most people, I feel like, would be so overwhelmed with,
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of just also giving a shit about random things that people have.
Yeah.
That you have to actually care if you want to be good at your job. Mm-hmm. And even if it's just like, noticing somebody brought their dog and they're sitting outside and like, does your dog want some water or whatever? Or taking the time to make sure that something like doesn't have gluten in it or peanuts in it or whatever it may be.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's big at my restaurant. We like their whole kind of thing is that they want to focus on people who have like allergies and things that they can't have, that they can have good food without that stuff in it. So it's huge at my restaurant. But it also like for a server, it's stressful for us.
Yeah.
If you come in and you're like, these are my allergies, we're like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to the kitchen to tell this, but I know those cooks back there. Like the cooks at my job now are cool, but when I worked at BJ's, I was like, all those cooks are high on cocaine.
They don't give a fuck.
They've all each killed a case of Modelo.
Yeah.
They don't care about your gluten intolerance.
They don't care even a little
They
bit.
don't care even a little bit.
Yeah. And you're the one that's going to have to stand there and watch that person
Yeah.
to stab themselves with an EpiPen.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, which is terrible.
It's
no,
so terrible.
If probably maybe right now 2% of the clients at the place I work at like mentions that they have an allergy.
Yeah.
If it were 10% or more, much less like half of the people, I would be losing my hair because of the stress.
Yeah.
Because when that happens, I'm like, please, like I checked, there's no gluten in the whatever.
Yeah.
But please let there actually not be.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
You're like, is if a crumb, I swear to
Yeah,
God.
Exactly.
Luckily, my job, it's probably like 40 to 50%. But because that's what they focus on and my chefs are like so brilliant,
Yeah.
I never have to worry.
That's amazing.
And so like that stress, but I had that stress at every other job I had before this because you somebody would say, my biggest thing was when they'd say they had a nut allergy.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Like, because with that, like this, you could have a peanut that you picked up with your fingers and set down 3 hours ago and still have like the remnants if you haven't washed your hands.
Yeah.
And we know most of those cooks at some of those restaurants are pretty gross. And they just touch whatever it is that person's going to eat and they can have a thing. So it's like, yeah, that always freaks me out. But it's like people, they don't give us enough credit to go, wow, you didn't kill us today. You know?
It's true. I feel like eating out, if you had life-threatening allergies or even just majorly life-inconveniencing allergies like gluten or peanuts, I feel like that would be a huge risk. I mean, I guess you just have to kind of live with it.
I guess.
Because it's either go out and try to enjoy that stuff or like pack a sandwich with you everywhere you go or whatever. Or I guess it's a lettuce wrap if it's gluten.
Yeah.
I was going to say take a peanut butter sandwich, but then you can't have peanut butter.
Those are
gluten.
literally the two.
Those are the only two things we've been talking about. So I guess you can't really do that.
I know. We get some, like, for my job that I'm at now, like, we had to learn what allergies were and everything. And, like, not only, like, tree nuts and gluten, but we had to learn, like, even, like, a garlic and an onion allergy.
Oh, wow.
And, like, like, so super, like, in-depth things because... And I've had a few people who are like, I can't have garlic, I can't have onions. And I was like, I'm so sorry for you.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. That stuff is in everything.
It's in everything. So
Not
it's
peanut butter
almost-
sandwiches.
Not peanut butter sandwiches. Although unless they want to throw a little onion in the bread. I don't know. I don't know if they would do that, like
Just a peanut butter sandwich but with garlic bread. And honestly, that could be kind of good. Maybe if it were crunchy peanut butter.
Ooh, yeah.
And you didn't have a peanut.
I don't know.
allergy.
I have a weird thing about peanut butter. Like,
Really?
It's really hard to explain. Let me see if I can do it.
This is
So-
this is therapy now. What about show me on where the peanut butter touched you?
No, more be like where it didn't touch me. No,
Gotcha.
no. I like the thought of peanut butter is gross to me. When people talk about peanut butter, I'm like, no, it doesn't sound appetizing, gross.
Really?
But I eat peanut butter.
Oh.
Like I like peanut butter sandwiches. I kind of enjoy peanut butter cookies. I even very rarely, occasionally love the spoonful of peanut butter. But the thought of it when people talk about it is so gross to me.
Why? Is it just the words?
I don't know.
Do they
I
talk
think,
about it in a certain way?
No, it's just like when people are like, dude, like my cousin, he eats peanut butter sandwiches like it's his fucking job.
Yeah.
And it's that to me is so gross to think about, but like I enjoy eating peanut butter.
They're good.
In certain,
I don't
a
eat
peanut
them that
butter
often.
sandwich is a little too dry for me.
Yeah.
And then like there are certain things that do have peanut butter that I'm like, that's too much. That's too much peanut butter.
Sure.
Like I can't have. There was something that I just thought of and then I just completely forgot. But like a PB&J, love it.
Yeah. Because it's wet. You got to have the right bread too.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like I think the sweet and the savory thing, but like when people talk about like loving peanut butter, I'm like, no, gross.
When you're saying it right now, are you having that same?
Yeah, like in my
Really?
mouth, like I'm like, nah, gross.
Wow.
Yeah,
I don't think I have anything like that.
I have a few things like
Really?
that.
Are you when people say moist? Are you one of those?
Doesn't bother me.
That doesn't bother you?
No.
Okay, I never.
I think it's funny that people get like uncomfortable about it.
You're an asshole.
Let's talk about it.
I
Let's talk
love
about
that.
some assholes.
So working at Olive Garden, which was the second place I worked at. So after I was at the place in Moby Dick on the pier,
Yeah.
I came back to school, and then I actually worked at Trejo's Tacos
Oh,
for about
wow.
9 months. I was like a shift lead assistant manager.
Yeah.
But that's kind of more of a fast casual. It's not like a restaurant.
Totally.
So I wanted to be a waiter and make tips, and so I got a job at Olive Garden.
Oh.
And yeah. The thing about Olive Garden, and some of these complaints are just about the way Olive Garden is set up
Yeah.
as an employee.
Yeah.
Because when you work at Olive Garden, right, you have unlimited soup, salad, and breadsticks.
Right.
And that's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
Because you have to run all your own food,
Right.
including the soup, salad, and breadsticks.
Oh my god.
And so you're only allowed to have 3 tables at a time.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh my
you come in at the beginning of your shift. When I worked there were like 75 waiters there. That's too many. And Olive Garden, I mean, they're large, but they're not that big.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be 75.
No.
There were probably upwards of 200 people that worked there.
On like one shift or like one day?
Oh, no, probably total.
Oh, okay. Oh, but still, that's huge.
Most people worked most days.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
there were at least 100 employees working there on a given day.
Oh my God.
I don't remember a single one of their names. and I quit like probably 2 years ago. And I feel like I'm pretty good with names. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't stick.
Yeah. The worst. So you would have these tables, but then they would always have promotions. That's the thing about working at a place so corporate like Olive Garden. They always have promotions. Oh, and also the Olive Garden I worked at was in a mall. Yeah.
Where?
In Culver City. Kind of Culver City, Inglewood. Yeah.
Oh, man. That's rough.
It was,
That's rough.
It was a fucking nightmare.
Oh,
and I'm a better person because I didn't kill myself when I worked there. The fact that I made it through everything since I quit that job has just been bread and butter. I don't deserve this life that I'm living now. But because it feels like I died and went to heaven. Actually, there was a shooting. Oh, I forgot about that. Well, we thought there was a shooting.
What?
But we had to evacuate the Olive Garden because it turned out what happened was there was a fight at the Lady Foot Locker on the other side of the mall, and somebody broke like the glass pane. You know, they have those big, tall, giant glass things,
yeah.
as like the doors or the windows. So somebody broke that, but we all in the Olive Garden thought there was a shooting.
Oh my God.
So we ran out and ran up onto like the roof, and I got into just some random coworker's car, and they ended up dropping me off at a gas station. And like, oh my God. Yeah.
What?
Oh.
Jesus.
Yeah, so it was bad. So it's in a mall.
Okay.
So nobody wants to tip you because they're shopping.
Of course.
And you get all this unlimited food, so the bill is like you'll have people. Well, okay, so they would do these promotions.
Yeah.
Where they do like, oh, also you get unlimited pasta. So and it's like $14.
What?
So people would come in and they get the unlimited pasta, which of course comes with unlimited soup, salad, and breadsticks.
Right.
And so you get to just run back and forth for like an hour. People will sit there. They'll eat like 5-6 bowls of pasta.
Yeah, it's sick.
It's unconscionable. And don't get me wrong, I feel like I'm somebody who can eat a lot of food in one sitting.
Yeah.
I would never do that in public.
No.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
You got to do that in like in your room with the lights low. You can't be around somebody else unless you like are dating them or your family.
Yeah.
Like immediate family.
Exactly.
And then and they take to-go boxes. So you'll be doing all this stuff. You bring them all this. And then, you'll bring them the check, and it's like $15.62 or whatever. And then they tip you $1.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, my God, dude. That, BJ's would have similar promotions. We didn't have anything unlimited.
Yeah.
But I worked at Wood Ranch, actually, and we gave out free bread rolls. And people would treat them like they were getting free drugs. They would they would be like, we'd be busy, a busy ass night. Yeah. And you'd have a table and you're like, bread's coming. They're just making some fresh bread. It's going fast because, Yeah. And people would be like, where's the bread? I can't eat my meal without the bread. Bitch, the bread is free.
Yeah.
So if you're going to wait and not eat your meal, like the fact that people take free items and just abuse that.
Yeah.
It's such a gross thing.
Because they think the fact that it's free means that you can have as much of it as you want until the end of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just not always what it means.
No. And maybe like, not only is it not like, are you being gross, but like also like, that's not healthy for you.
Not at all.
To have that much food in a sitting like of Olive Garden, of BJ's, of this processed as food.
Well, and the thing is though, at Olive Garden though, like they encourage it.
Yeah.
They encourage people to get as much as they want. Just as a corporation, they encourage it.
They do.
And so all the management is like, do they have enough? There's only one breadstick left in that you might want. Like you ask the way that you ask about drink refills. Can I get you some more Coke? It's like, do you want another salad? This big giant fucking bowl of salad.
Right.
Oh,
which is ironic to me too, because when you go in there, I feel like that now they fill the salad like halfway.
Yeah.
It's like, and I'm like, well, if you just would have filled it up.
Well, you're supposed to fill it proportionally based on how many people there are. If it's only a salad, that is one thing I do remember. If it's only a salad for like 2 people, you fill it to a certain point.
Got
if
it.
it's
That
3
makes
or
sense.
4, you fill it up like 75%. And if it's like 5 or more, you fill it up all the way.
Okay, that makes sense.
Oh my God, and the breadstick. The breadstick take you inside the kitchen of an Olive Garden.
Please.
Right?
It's heating up.
You walk in Olive Garden, right? There's the big line, the expo station, which is where the cooks pass the food through the window. The manager, there's always a manager standing there to like, you have a big screen with everybody's name on it and their order.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, that's my table. It's got the whole order on there. And then you have to take your tray. You like I said, you have to run all your own food.
Yeah.
But
those big ass giant trays.
Oh, those trays are enormous. Never spilled one of those.
Wow.
Thank
nice.
fucking God.
Too traumatized from
Yeah,
the two.
seriously. No, I would have killed I'm not good enough for Olive Garden. Are you kidding me? But there's this tiny little oven at the end of the expo line. And I'm 6'3", and I'm like the perfect height to see into this thing.
Yeah.
Most of the servers at Olive Garden are not 6'3", but that's where the breadsticks come out of. And the way that you grab the breadsticks to take them to people is with these tongs. And so anytime you walk into the kitchen at Olive Garden, because the kitchen's always so backed up, inevitably there's at least 10 to 12 people standing around this little 1 foot wide, like almost conveyor belt looking thing with trays of breadsticks, reaching over each other, fighting. Short people are like trying to bribe the taller people to reach in and grab them their breadsticks. And it's just so not worth it.
Jesus.
Just none of it is worth it. And then the cheese, oh my God. Okay, so for anybody who's been to an Olive Garden lately, I don't know if you remember this. People will ask you when they serve you your food, do you want cheese on stuff?
Ironically, the episode before this, we did a Yelp review.
Okay.
And the woman was very upset that she was not offered her cheese on her soup.
So when you go, you put all the food on your tray. Includes the soup, salad, and breadsticks. You have to take out a cheese grinder.
Yeah.
And I don't really know how to describe it, but it looks, I guess, how you would expect. There's a little stick of like Parmesan cheese in there. And when you drop the stuff off, you go, do you want any cheese on this stuff? The amount of cheese that people want on their food, which most of it already has cheese on it.
Right. I was going to say, yeah.
Like chicken parm. Parm is cheese. That's half the dish.
Yeah.
Is cheese. People wanted cheese on their salad to the point where it's not healthy anymore. It's like it crosses over into, do you want some lettuce with this cheese? Yeah. I had people ask me to put cheese on their breadsticks.
What?
It's not even going to stay.
No. Question.
Yeah.
Are the breadsticks frozen? Do they come out of a bag like that?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I don't really remember. Gosh, yeah, I want to say they are.
I just assumed that
No,
they
they
are.
definitely are actually. Yeah, no, I remember having to. There were a couple times that the kitchen was slow, and I myself actually had to like put them in the oven.
Yeah.
They're definitely frozen.
They're just out of a bag, like
Everything
fucking
there's no way.
Texas
anything there
toast. They
isn't
just
frozen.
buy a bunch of them and
It's ridiculous,
Yeah,
and they're
that's how
good.
bitches-
I mean, they're addicting.
They are
They're
addicting.
really fucking good.
bread, butter, and garlic.
That's
What
all
else,
it is.
What else do you need?
Yeah. Oh my God, it's terrible.
Jesus.
But I did have one. So my asshole story is that when you have the 3 tables, anytime there's a larger party,
Yeah.
if they'll put tables together, right?
Yeah.
If one of those tables is your table and one of them is somebody else's, you have to work on that party together with them. And so we had this giant I don't know, I think it must have been probably like grad season or something like
Yeah.
that.
Which is the worst.
Oh my God. And they put this huge table together, and it was all 3 of my tables. And there were like a couple tables from a couple other servers. They all had other tables they were working on, but I ended up doing the majority of the work for these people.
Right.
I don't remember how much their check was. I want to say it was at least $200-300.
Yeah.
They left us $6 as a tip, which I then only got 2 of because I had to split it with 2 other people. And that's just life. Like you can just
times.
choose to accept the things you can and cannot change.
Yep.
Like there should be a whole like there's like couples therapy and like therapy for sexual trauma or whatever. There should be a therapy for like working at Olive Garden. I don't want to compare that to sexual trauma, but maybe to couples issues.
Yeah,
interpersonal problems. It's comparable. I
It's
think.
its own trauma. I think we can up that once by there should be a therapy group for just people who worked in corporate restaurants.
Yeah.
For Darden especially.
Oh yeah. Does Darden own BJ's? Yard House.
Yard House. It's like Yard House. I think like Bob Evans or something like that. Like they're all kind of intertwined, but I think BJ's might fall under it, but I'm not 100% sure.
I don't think so because I remember I would get discounts at a couple places.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't think BJ's was one of them.
You're right. But we would have everything exactly very similar. Like, I remember I took this. We were closing at midnight. And it was like a random, like, it wasn't a busy night. It was like a Tuesday maybe or something. And I had just gotten phased. And
Oh my God, I forgot that word. Sorry.
I know, right?
That
Phase,
takes me back.
doesn't it?
Do we need to explain what that is? Do people know?
I guess we can. I think I might have it in a different episode, but we can reiterate. So phasing is when you get basically told that you aren't going to take any more tables to kind of do your side work and get on out of there.
Yeah.
Basically means you're cut if you've heard that, or you're done for the night.
Right.
And I was in the back part of the restaurant, so they were kind of closing down the back part because they didn't need it. Yeah. And earlier that night, there had been a call in to say, "Hey, can you take a party of 35?" And they're like, "We can, but when you have a party of a lot of places, if you have a party of a certain number or higher, they make you do like a private event kind of catering thing."
Right. You pay for it in advance and all that stuff.
Well, that and also like that you can't do an open menu because you would literally flood the kitchen.
That's true.
And so for us, it was like if you had a party of, I think it was either 20 or 25 or more, you had to do pizza, pasta, salad. That was like our catering.
Gotcha.
And these people were like, "No, we want open menu." And they're like, "So sorry, no, you can't." And it was 11:35, and this party of 35 walks in anyway. And they go, "We want to be sat, and we want open menu." And my manager was like, "All right," and gave it to them.
Wow.
On top of that, all the other servers who weren't phased, there was only like 2 on, and they were in the 2 busiest parts of the restaurant. So they asked me, they're like, "Hey, can you stay and take this party?"
By yourself?
By myself.
Oh my God.
And I was like, I knew I could handle a 35, but I was like, are we doing catering?
Yeah.
Because especially
It's
35,
different.
it's
By the time you're done taking the 35th person's order, the first person's order is probably ready.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I just made it to where I like kind of broke it into tables because I was like, I have to do it that way.
Yeah.
So it was like almost by like family because this was it was like a wedding reception.
Oh, at BJ's?
Yeah. It happened.
Sometimes you just learn the degree of people.
Yeah. It happened, wedding receptions and that kind of thing happened uncomfortably often.
Really?
At my restaurant. Yeah, it was
BJ's.
gross. It was I was like, you have low expectations in life. So
When they talk about like 50% of marriages ended, it's those marriages.
yeah.
That
Oh,
end in
100%.
Divorce. Yeah.
100%. I remember like sidetracking Valentine's Day a lot of times being like, if anybody gets proposed to here,
Oh yeah.
I hope the girl says no. Like,
Yeah.
I hope they say no.
Yeah.
Or
Oh my
guy,
God.
or whoever's getting proposed, but, you know.
It's one thing to do it on Valentine's Day. I guess if you're into that and it's like a romantic setting and it's Valentine's Day, I guess that's fine. I don't know. I'm kind of against the corniness of proposing on Valentine's Day.
Same.
Make your own adventure a little
Same.
bit. You know what I mean?
But also, on top of that, even cornier to go to a shitty-ass
Right.
2.5-star restaurant.
BJ's. Yeah.
Exactly. So anyway, so this party comes, and then they were not very nice at all. And I told them up front, I go, you guys have to understand, food is going to come out kind of sporadically because I can't put this all in on one ticket.
Right.
So I think I did like 10. I must have did, no, I did like 10, 10, 10, and then 5 or something like that. Cool. And the food was coming out, and we're notorious for knowing we had cold food coming out anyway, or it was shitty kitchen.
Oh, really?
The restaurant I worked at, the specific BJ's, the kitchen was too small to actually put out enough food for the whole restaurant if they were packed.
Yeah.
Like they built it wrong. And so
Jesus.
I was like, this is already going to be a shit show. I knew it.
Yeah.
So actually, I think within all of the food, I think there was only one person that sent something back, and it was their steak wasn't cooked enough. It was one of those people like where they get it. Like, I'm like, do you need me to get you beef jerky? Because
they can tell.
Yeah.
Christ.
Anyway, so they were terrible. I was there until like almost 1, and their bill total was probably because they obviously did split checks because they were terrible.
Yeah.
And
of course,
it was
that's the worst. Oh, can you split this for us? Oh.
Yeah,
When they
35 ways.
Pro tip, if you have to just warn the server at the beginning, and then they'll tell you whether they have the time or not.
Yeah.
And then you can have the whole course of the meal to make arrangements.
Exactly.
If you can't split it.
And understand that Venmo is a thing, and it's
very
free.
useful and easy.
It was free-ish.
Yeah.
And so I split up the check, and I think it was like 5 checks because it was like I can do this by table. I cannot do it separately. So they're like, okay. The grand total, I can't remember the exact number, but it was upwards of like $1,100 to $1,200 was like the total bill.
So let's think about that.
20% of that
240 if it's 100, if it's 1200.
at least. Yeah. Not to mention, like in my mind, I think 240, but on top of the fact that you inconvenience a restaurant, came in 30 minutes before they closed,
and
yada,
it's,
yada.
yeah, and it's the wedding, and you should have budgeted for more than BJ's food for your wedding.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
probably tip you at least a few $100.
Exactly. Right. So in total, I think they left me like $36.
Oh my God.
And I was so mad. I was literally so infuriated that like my manager ended up being really cool, and he goes, "Did anybody pay cash?" And I go, "Yeah, this table did." And he comped them, so I ended up making like 150 off of it.
That's okay. That's amazing.
But that's only because my manager at that time was cool, and he was
shout
like,
out to whoever that person is.
Oz, he knows who
Oz,
he is.
That's
He's
fucking
he was
incredible.
A cool guy. Yeah, I was like, dude. Like, what kind of people are you to come in and do that? Like, I got stiffed on like 3 out of the 5 checks. And I was just like,
Ooh.
I remember those. I've suppressed a lot of those feelings.
I bet.
But like that would happen constantly at BJ's. Constantly.
Yeah. That was, other than the other story I told, I don't think there are any like huge tables that I got that stiffed on. But it was a lot of like $80 checks, $4 tips. Mm-hmm. And it's not even $4. It'd be like 4 crumply singles. Like, it's always the most fucking disrespectful thing.
Yeah.
And the other part of it, too, is that I don't think people are doing that on purpose. It's just ignorance.
Yeah.
Or it's just that they just don't value that stuff.
They
or
don't.
Society has taught them that, like, if you're going to an Olive Garden in a mall, you don't have to tip like you would if you're going to a different place. But maybe they just don't tip anyway.
And I sometimes also blame it on, like, stupidity. Like, I feel like people get nervous when they see the number on the check and they don't know how to add correctly.
Well, it says it on the bottom.
I know. But I still think they just freak out, especially like if it's like a young kid on a date and he's just like, you know, let me just put whatever.
I did that once, but I tipped too much because I didn't know that you could pay with cash and then ask for change and then leave the change. I think I was like 15 or 16 and it was like my first girlfriend, and I ended up leaving like a $25 tip on like a $60 check, which is, I mean,
which is nice.
It's fine. It's nice, but I didn't really mean to do that.
Yeah.
But whatever. I mean, it's in the long run, who cares?
That
but
server, like, you gave that server like a little bit of like a hope that maybe humanity's not dead.
Exactly. And I would obviously much rather do that than the other way around.
Yeah, exactly.
Than pay, $63.82 in exact change and then get up and leave without even saying like bye.
They'd be like, cool, thanks. Yeah. They do that
That's
shit.
the only time it's acceptable to do that is if you clearly are not from this country.
Yes.
In which case it's inconvenient, but you can't be that mad about it.
Right. Because it's like, I wish you would have looked up like the proper tipping ways, but I understand that you don't understand.
You can't go to a foreign country and be expected to know every single thing about the culture.
Right.
But it still is shitty.
It is shitty.
Have you ever said anything to somebody about not giving you a tip or giving you a bad tip?
I've definitely, like, if somebody like their bill was like 98 and some change and they gave me 100 and said keep it, I've definitely brought the change back and be like, there you go. I don't think I've ever like specifically walked up to a table and been like, did I do something wrong?
Right.
Not that I can remember.
Yeah, I've never done that either. I will say that is such a fucking pro surfer move when they give you 100 and say keep the change. Give them the change back.
Yeah.
That's brilliant because because if you keep the change, that's accepting that amount as a tip.
Yep.
And at that point, who gives a fuck if they take the dollar and a few cents and leave with it?
Honestly, it hurts worse when you get tipped that shitty than getting stiffed for some reason.
Yeah, no, I fully agree.
You know, I don't know what sense that makes, but it does. It's just like, you're like, oh, all right, well, fuck you.
Yeah.
My coworker of mine just recently at the restaurant I work at, because it's not common at all for us to either, like, every check on average is like at least between like 18 and 20%.
Okay. Yeah.
Every check. Like, so it's very rare to get a really crappy tip. And this particular day, my coworker had gotten like 2 of them.
Okay.
And the next table, or the one table he had, I think similar situation. I think the bill was like 97 and they gave him 100 and told him to keep it. And he was like, no. So he went up to them and was like, I don't know what he said specifically, but he said something along the lines of like, this isn't enough.
Yeah.
And I don't think they tipped him more or anything like that.
Yeah.
But they ended up calling in.
Wow.
And nothing happened because this guy's like an OG. But I'm just like, dude, I wish I had the balls to do that.
Well, you got to have some serious job security.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, you do.
Anywhere that I worked, I've never worked at a place for, I don't think more than a year actually. So I don't think I've worked there long enough to where they would be like, you know what I mean?
We value you enough.
Well, yeah, I mean, I feel like I do a good job and places I've worked at generally look at me as like being good at my job. But
right.
It's also not that hard of a job.
It's not that hard. It really, in hindsight, like we do a lot, but it's not that hard of a job.
It's not that hard to. You just kind of have to give a shit.
Yeah.
But you should give a shit anyway because giving a shit is what's going to make you good tips.
Exactly. And like it's not about like you know, like, oh, I don't want to fucking work that hard for something. Well, that's not the point. The point is that you're working hard for yourself.
Exactly.
It's like servers are, it's almost like self-employment.
There's always motivation to work harder.
Exactly. Exactly.
There is one other thing I wanted to mention. Actually, there's a couple, but I had this table once. This just came back to me.
Yeah.
This is a table. The place I work at right now, like I said, it's a smokehouse. It's all Southern barbecue. It's really good food, but we attract people that are generally very laid back.
Okay.
But I did have this one table one time, and this is such an uncomfortable position to be put in. It was like a family of 4, and the son paid. It was kind of one of those secret, you know, when somebody kind of slips you the credit card.
Was he like how old would you say he was?
He was probably around my age. He was probably early 20s.
Okay.
I would say. Maybe I want to say I was older than him actually.
Okay.
So he could have been like 19. Mm-hmm. But he paid kind of to the surprise of the parents.
Right.
And he paid, and I think it was like $100 check, and he gave me like a shitty tip. It was like gave me $5 in cash or something.
Yeah.
And later on, you know, I'm kind of bringing out boxes, and I know the parents don't know that the meal's already been paid for, but the parents asked me, you know, they were kind of like, you know, the dad goes to hand me the credit card or whatever, and I'm like, oh no, you know, yeah, your son or whoever, you know, he already took care of it. You guys are fine, and you know, we go through the whole surprise. Oh, you did? Oh wow, crazy. And then they turn to me and they go, you know, like, did he tip you? Like, did he take care of you? What am I supposed to say? That I can't say no because he gave me a crumply $5 bill.
Yeah.
That I'm gonna put in my cash register and not take home. I don't want the crumple. I'm gonna trade it in for a crisp one.
Yeah.
What do you say?
I've had something, and I would have just been like, oh yeah, you gave me $5. So, you know, you kind of like have to make it almost a joke, just so that they can know, and they go $5.
Yeah.
And you go, and then I would have just probably been like, yeah, you know, he's a kid. He probably doesn't understand how to tip or whatever.
Fair.
Because, like, maybe that was them being, because they probably wanted to teach him the lesson to say, well, this is what you would tip on this check.
Yeah, I don't know. He seemed like he was old enough to know. It's not like he was like, you know, 15 or something.
Yeah,
he was clearly old enough to know.
If his parents have been paying the bill most of the time, and he probably barely ever does, like,
I guess maybe not.
You know, I always try to look at like the hindsight to be like, I wish tables who didn't know like how to tip were like, excuse me, can I just ask you, like, what should I tip on this? Because I'm not going to be like, I deserve $1 million.
Right.
You know, like, I'll be like, if you think I gave you 20%, or like great service, 20%, which would be this, and you know what I mean? Like, I have this girl at my job, she's a chef, but she's like newer, and she was like, oh yeah, like I always tip 15%. I go, well, 20 is like the standard. And she goes, is it? I go, 15 is like if you had shitty service, but you got everything you needed, kind of, you know? Huh. And then I was like, 20% is like, oh, I had everything and they were a cool server. I was like, 25% if they kill, you know what I mean?
See, I think of that as being different. I always think of 15% as being like fine.
No,
like nothing was wrong.
No.
I've always thought that was okay.
That's 20%. That's 18%.
I always thought that 20% was like, hey, you did a good job. But I always thought that like if you did a good job, unless you went above and beyond, in which case they better give you at least 20.
Yeah.
But if you just did your job and it was good and fine, I have always thought the 15 is okay.
Absolutely not.
You don't think so?
Absolutely not.
Wow.
15% is it wasn't the best experience. You may have gotten everything you needed, but it could have taken a little longer, or that you had to ask more than once, or you know, like your server was in the weeds and you just don't feel like you got that service. But I feel like if you go into a place and you have good service and the server was fun and you had a good time, 20%. If they were great and you were like, this is the coolest server, at least 25%.
Is that common knowledge that I'm missing out on?
I think so.
Really?
15% to me is always like I did something wrong. 15% to me is not good.
So the place I work at, we don't have we have iPads that we carry around and we type in all the orders as we're taking them, which by the way, amazing.
Yeah.
Shout out to my restaurant for being that kind of place because it's so much better than having to run back and forth and like print out checks and then run credit cards.
Yeah.
Like I tap a credit card on a little thing
and then
I hand
cool.
it right back. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But when I do that, the buttons pop up. It has like 15%, 20%, 25%.
Yeah.
And then it has custom and then it has no tip.
Yeah.
For like just if people want to do cash or if they just woke up on that side of the bed today.
Right.
Which is not that
not
uncommon.
The best.
But here's the thing is that I always get indignant when places list like when the percentages they list start higher than 15.
Oh,
I've always thought that it should start at 15
it should.
because like I said, I don't think 15 is unreasonable. Again, if it was good, you'd hope they'd give you 20.
Yeah.
But if it was good, maybe they ended up ordering extra stuff and they don't have the budget to give you more than 15.
No,
like,
then don't go out.
Okay, I agree with that sentiment, but for lower percentages. You know what I mean? Like
No.
if they only had enough money to tip you $5 on a $100 check, then yeah, don't go out. But I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I guess we differ on this.
In my idea, if you're going out to eat, if you're going out to enjoy yourself, I feel like, first of all, number one thing you're going to do is you probably have already looked up the restaurant, right, and kind of got an idea of what they have.
Yeah, you should be able to afford it.
And you kind of look at the price point. You're like, okay, so this is, and I know how much I want to eat, and if I'm taking my significant other, budget it out and go, okay, what's a 20% tip? That way, it's already budgeted out. And then if for some reason you don't feel like they gave you what 20% is, like, good service, then you not whatever, but like have it budgeted. Know that that's what you're going to spend. Because to me, it's like, that's not my problem that you can't afford what you ordered.
I guess that's true.
You know, you ordered it. I still did my job. It's not like I stopped doing my job after you ordered what you could afford.
Do you ever tip not as well because you didn't enjoy the food?
No,
because of
never.
any food related things. So like if you ordered something and like it was cold and the food was just shitty and you had to send it back like twice, which probably as a person who works in food service, you probably never send things back, or it's probably really hard to get you to do that.
No, actually, I'll send it back for sure because in my mind, with people with other like the opposite, like I would so much rather somebody send something back that they don't like, so I can get them something they want, than sit there and eat it and then tip me shitty because they think you know what I mean?
If you send stuff back and you still aren't that happy with it and eventually you just kind of give up, but the server was really attentive,
Still 20%.
you'll tip well?
Yep, of course. They didn't cook it.
What if they take your thing off the bill? Do you give them 20% of what that would have been?
Of course.
Wow.
Always that's a huge thing. If you have promos, if you get discounts, if somebody gave you a free beer.
That's so true.
You always tip what the bill should have been because you didn't pay for that item. Like you have to. Like it's like that used to drive me, like I have that happen at my job just recently. It was a lower check, but like this woman came in with her daughter and she got like a 15% off because of the promo or whatever, and her bill went from like $48 to like $27, and the bitch left me $3.
Wow.
And I'm like, you always tip on what the original bill is.
Yeah.
That's hands down.
$10.
And like for the server, especially like the food part for me, like I'm not a picky eater. I understand if you're more of a picky eater that maybe I'm just more lenient. Like I don't care if it's a little cold. It's what.
Yeah.
Although I did for the first time ever walk out of a restaurant when I was back home during Christmas.
You mean like without paying for?
Yeah. Well,
really?
we didn't really get anything, but without paying. It was insane. It was it was like a nicer restaurant. It was called Brio. Okay. And it was like an Italian restaurant, and they were relatively busy, but not that busy. Okay. And you know, as servers, we're analyzing everything whether we want to or not, if we're working or not, you know. Yeah. And it was we were a party of 5. It was like me, it was my family. And so we go and we sit down, and our server was cool at first. Like we ordered some appetizers, we ordered a bottle of wine, we ordered some waters. And those, like the bottle of wine took like over 20 minutes to come.
Wow.
Really, really long time.
Yeah.
Our appetizer took a long time. And then we ordered food, and we didn't do anything crazy complicated. We maybe like had one dish where we split in half or something, you know?
Yeah.
And we were sitting there for over an hour waiting for our food. Wow. And it was an open kitchen, so you could see all the food. And I saw like just 2 stacks of food just dying in the window. And I'm just like, I bet you that's our food that's just dying there. Yeah. Nobody's running food. They had 2 managers on. One of them didn't leave Expo, and the other one was this like huge frumpy guy that walked slower than a fucking turtle.
Oh my God.
And our server, and I felt really bad for our server because I was like, he seems new and he seems too scared to come back to our table to talk to us. But that's your first mistake.
That's so important.
It's so important.
If it's going to be a long time, you got to tell him it's going to be a long time.
Communication is so key.
It's so key.
Because I know you're not cooking it. I know it's not your fault that it's taking a long time. Or if it is, if you forgot to ring it in, come let us know. That's fine.
You're the liaison. You have to be the diplomat in that situation.
You have to. And if you can't go to that kitchen and get that food out in a timely manner, just communicate it.
Right.
If he would have came to the table and be like, you guys, I'm so sorry. I'm going to check on it now. I know the kitchen's backed up. We would have been more inclined to be like, you know what? We'll take another bottle of wine or whatever and we'll chill.
While we're waiting.
Exactly. Yeah, and so he didn't come over to our table for like 30 minutes. And there was this waiter that was serving a table next to us, and he noticed our frustration and came over and was like, I'll see what I can do.
That's top notch.
And I was like, good for you, man. And we were like talking to him for a minute, and like it kept going to where not even a manager was coming over to our table. The kid that was like checked in on us kept doing it. He's like, I don't know, man, this is weird. Like kind of like being like, this is not how it normally is. And like my aunt she's a bit of a spark plug.
Sure.
She's the one person that I literally hate going to eat with because she's like that Karen.
My mom's like that.
You know, and I'm like, I always have to be like,
yeah, chill.
Yeah.
Keep it cool. Yeah.
And this was the one circumstance where I was like, here she comes, you know?
Yep.
And she walked up to the expo line to the manager and just like went in on him and was like, this is ridiculous. He comes back to our table because I was like, we should just leave. Yeah. Like, let's just go. Let's just leave. Yeah. We got one bottle of wine, one appetizer. I was like, I don't think we should pay for any of it. Let's go.
You definitely.
Well, at this point, it's been like almost 2. By the time we got you know what I mean?
For anybody out there, dining and dashing is obviously never cool. If you've been sitting around for 2 hours and nobody will talk to you, except the guy it's not his job at all, you can get up and leave if you've only had like a bottle of wine.
Yes, don't get if you've eaten all your food and you're like it's taken for and like
you're waiting for the check. Yeah, but
so then my aunt goes up, brings he tries to bring our food over. Oh, he never brings my grandma's food.
Was it the food from the window?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It was cold. It was hard. We were like, take it back. We don't want it.
The window, there was no heat lamp in the window, first of all?
There was 2 stacks of, like 2 layers of plates sitting there. Oh, no. But the tray, they had a tray off the heat lamps with our food on it that was just sitting there for at least 45 minutes. And this is the kicker. The manager then finally walks over. Terrible management skills. Oh, no. He was not sympathetic with us. He was not like apologetic. He was basically like, well, sorry, we're busy, but just pay for your wine and you can go. And I'm like, nah, we're not going to pay for anything. Yeah. He goes, well, ma'am, if you don't pay for your wine, I'm going to call the cops. I go, call the cops. It's a $40 bottle of wine. Kiss my ass. Yeah. And I'm never like that to people in the service industry unless I'm like, you're giving me this. You don't know. I know what you're dealing with, and I know how you should be reacting, and
exactly.
You're not.
Yeah.
And my aunt ended up paying for the bottle of wine, and I think she gave the server like $20, but I would like refuse. I mean, I was like, I don't want to give. They should not be given anything for that kind of service.
That's bullshit.
Terrible.
That's awful.
And like, it's so rare. I'm so patient in a restaurant, especially if it's busy.
Same. Because we've all been there.
All been there. And I'm looking around and it wasn't even that busy. That's the frustrating part.
Jesus.
Is it wasn't even that busy. And it was almost like we were just being blatantly ignored. And it was just such a weird situation. And I was just like, wow. Oh, dude, I was pissed. I think I wrote a Yelp review.
Damn.
And I never do.
Wow.
Yeah, it was rough. It was the first time I've ever done that.
Wow. I wrote a Yelp review once for a place because they wouldn't take me off their email list, their texting list, and I tried to like put them in spam. But they kept coming back with all these different phone numbers. I don't know what. I think this was during a just generally unhappy period of my life. I actually reported them to the Better Business Bureau. I was like, they won't stop calling me.
Oh my god.
Part of why I was so upset though too was that I had this place is like in the corner of a strip mall. This is totally my fault. This is really fucked up. Well, it's not. I mean, it's not that fucked up. It's just stupid that I would exert the time and energy.
Yeah.
And I went to get something there. I think I just had to park near their restaurant so I could use an ATM that was like near them.
Yeah.
And as I was turning out, I turned into this pole that was there, and there's a big dent in my car still. This was like 4 or 5 years ago, and it was in front of that restaurant. And every time I would drive past, I'd be like, why is there that fucking pole?
Oh, so you had like PTSD about it.
Place. Yeah, and I've dined there before. The food is totally fine. It's called Pasta Roma, by the way. The food is totally fine.
That's hilarious.
I mean, it's not amazing, but they wouldn't stop texting me. I was very upset. Very upset.
Dining out tip of the week.
What is a tip that you could give the listeners, whether they've worked in a restaurant or not, that can benefit not only them, but also the server in having just a better experience out?
Okay, the first one that comes to mind is not applicable to everybody. I'm going to try to think of one that's applicable to everybody. But the first one, if you have kids, keep your kids, just keep them, just have them sit down, train them to be, okay. I shouldn't have to like remake drinks because your kid is getting up and coming to the bar and like picking up the drinks that I've made.
What?
Yeah, that's happened multiple times.
No.
Yeah. It's fine if they're crawling around under the table. I don't give a shit. It's okay if they don't know what they want to eat. It depends how old they are. But like if they're little kids,
Yeah. Keep them on a leash.
just keep them within the general boundaries of your table.
Yes.
Unless you're going with them to the bathroom.
Yes.
They shouldn't be climbing up on the bar stools.
No.
And talking to the other guests.
No. This isn't your home.
Please keep your kids.
That's a good one, actually.
Yeah.
Because that is super annoying. Like my restaurant, people just let their kids like run around the patio, and I'm like, there is hot food and drinks being served everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, it's cute. They're running. I don't give a fuck. Keep your kid by you.
People are walking around with all kinds of stuff.
All
you can run
kinds
into
of
them.
stuff.
Everything's gonna spill.
And the second something falls on your kid, you're gonna be like, well, why weren't you careful? Well, why weren't you watching your kid?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that's maybe more my asshole of the week. My other tip that I was thinking of: stay at the table. Unless you're, and I mean, at my restaurant we get like EMTs and paramedics. Unless you have to go because of an emergency,
Right.
Don't get up.
If
you're trying to do the secret thing, hey, I'll pay the bill. I guess I get that.
Yeah.
But don't get up just because you're ready to pay.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So annoying.
Oh my God. Because then I have to set everything down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's like people get it the whole time, and then at the very end they just forget how to be at a restaurant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
And then they start, can we have the bill? Like,
yeah.
I
told
you I brought it. Yeah.
Just do this. You know the thing where they write in the air?
Yeah.
Which means, I realize now I have to explain that.
Yeah.
You know where you write, you pretend like you're drawing in the air? That means check. Everybody knows that means
Everybody
check.
knows that means check.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and then they all, it's like a plane that just landed. Everybody just pops up and you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
Like,
or when they yell from a crowd, excuse me. Oh.
While you're at another table.
Oh yeah. You're standing there talking to them. Like you're in the middle of an order and people start talking to you. Ooh. And I have to do that because like when I'll be like outside, we have outside seating and then people will show up at the door. And I think I mentioned this earlier at my place right now. I have to be the host too. And sometimes the owner can't see that there are people at the door. So I'll have to turn in the middle of asking people like if they want a side of fries to say, hey guys, I'll be right with you.
Yeah.
But then sometimes they start striking up a dialogue.
Yeah.
I'll be right with you.
I said I'd be right with you.
Yeah.
I get really like snappy when that happens a lot because like it's do you not see what I'm doing? Don't be rude. Wait your turn.
Yeah.
I'll be over there in a second.
I will say another thing. When people tell you what they have and don't have, don't ask them again. The place I work in right now, again, Southern barbecue. Think like ribs, brisket, pulled pork.
Yeah.
Again, amazing food. Spring Street Smokehouse. Come by. It's fantastic.
Sounds great.
The service is excellent. People stop by at least 3 or 4 times a week and ask if we have hot dogs and hamburgers.
What?
Do you guys have hamburgers? It's fine if you thought we did and we don't.
Yeah.
But then we go, we don't. You don't?
Yeah.
We don't have hamburgers. One lady, she looks at me in the eye, she goes, are you sure you don't have any hamburgers?
Oh.
Why would I lie to you about that?
I love it.
I'm just gonna make up what's on the menu to get you to leave. Why would I do that?
When people think that we're lying to them.
Why would I? What
fun.
do I get out of that? I don't
Nothing.
make any tips.
Yeah.
We're not busy.
Yeah. I know. I love it. I love it. My restaurant does this thing where they change the menu every season.
Oh, okay.
So I'll get a lot of people who will be like, oh, do you still have that thing? And I was like, it's probably Caesar. They're like, my favorite was like, it was just so good. That's what I was coming here for. Well, sorry, lady. You're not going to fucking get it.
Right?
So
no, yeah. People sometimes they will sit down and I'll get their drink. Like, what do you want? Coke, whatever, lemonade. I bring it to the table. You guys ready to order? Yeah. Can I have a hot dog? You've been looking at the menu the whole time.
I love that where they just order things that have never even existed.
Never, not
and
once.
you're like, where did you read that at?
Yeah.
Did you find that somewhere?
That's unbelievable. Oh, speaking of finding things, I meant to mention this about Olive Garden. People would find hairs at that place at least 3 or 4 times a week.
Oh my God, that's gross.
Well, no, but I think a lot of time they were making it up.
Oh.
Like they would just kind of find them.
Of course they
It
would.
happens. I mean, it happens. It happens in food. It's food. People have hair.
Yes.
Hair gets on food
yes.
sometimes.
Things get into people's food.
But like, Not that much.
Some gross shit has happened at BJ's. There was once, not at my restaurant, but at another BJ's, a woman found a frozen dead frog
Oh,
because it had gotten into the bag of lettuce, and whoever the chef was didn't know.
that's a whole other level.
That's a whole other level.
A frozen dead frog.
A whole frozen dead frog.
Not like a frog that like cryogenically went into like a program.
No, I mean it was just a
in the year 2040 or whatever.
No, that thing was frozen. And then at my restaurant, there was like a caterpillar on the lettuce once, which is like that's just
kind of normal.
Yeah, it's kind of normal. People have found like screws in the food.
Screws.
Before. Yeah,
That's bad.
I know.
It's
not
been like a
pretty
caterpillar.
rough. Yeah,
we don't have salads, so all of our food goes in a smoker.
Yeah,
except for like the sides and stuff.
So they'll cook it out.
But you can tell like mac and cheese is only supposed to be yellow.
Yeah,
so you can tell if there's something red or green in there.
Very true. You know Very true. That's
wow. A screw.
Yeah.
A dead frog. I've never had anything like that.
I know.
I'm racking my brain. I can't think of anything.
I know. I feel like there's more too, and I just can't remember what it was.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty gross.
Wow.
I know.
I had this one guy pull up. So we have outdoor seating because of LA, alfresco, COVID, and everything. Perfect. And this guy pulls up in his truck outside of the restaurant and he starts yelling to me. I'm standing there inside just like looking at my phone or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, can I place an order to go? And we do to-go orders.
Yeah.
But we're not a drive-through. You have to come into the restaurant.
Yeah.
You can do a phone order and then come in and pay for it.
Easy.
But I'm not going to walk up to your, can I help you? We're not doing that.
I'm not running outside when you can't physically walk inside to do it. Like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
People would do that a lot at my old job, Wood Ranch. They would just be like,
Wood Ranch.
Especially during COVID.
I bet.
It was so rough.
Yo. Break.
This is basically where I select a random Yelp review, usually from a restaurant that you have worked at. I did choose the Olive Garden.
Nice.
And we read it and we kind of dissect it and see if we think it's the server's fault or the patron's fault.
Oh, sounds good.
More or less than not, it's the patron, especially when they read a novel one, which is my favorite ones to read.
Yeah.
This one.
You mean like because of length?
Yeah, right. The fact that you took that much time to analyze your entire experience.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa.
It doesn't need that much time or energy.
It doesn't.
Like that person's just there's probably some other shit going on in their life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, I already started reading this review and it's hilarious.
All right, I can't wait. Let's get into it.
It's hilarious. Okay. Look at he's like, Mom, it's not. You don't have to eat yet. Okay, so this is a review from Olive Garden. Your specific location, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Culver City, Westfield Mall.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And this is by Jacqueline H. She's from Inglewood, California. She has 7 reviews or has given 7 stars. I don't really know how that works, but this is from May 25th of 2021. So I don't know, 8 months ago.
Yeah.
It's funny.
How many stars did she give?
She left him 1.
1 star, which is the minimum, right? You can't do 0. Okay.
Yep. Can't do 0.
I honestly don't know how it works. I don't think I've ever done a Yelp review.
Oh, sometimes when I'm bored, like I would just read Yelp reviews of the jobs I'm at just to see what people say.
Yeah.
They're pretty fucking interesting.
I bet.
Okay. So Jacqueline says, I really wanted to like our waitress, but she was extremely lazy. Naomi. A, didn't offer any refills on soup, bread, or drinks. She never removed a single plate off our table. Once our food was brought to us, another server had to remove the finished plates to make room for our fresh food.
Wow.
The fact that she called Olive Garden fresh food is already a mistake.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair assessment. I'm trying to think. When you said Naomi, I went, because there was definitely at least one Naomi when I worked there.
Really?
I mean, there's a lot of turnover at that place.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I haven't worked there since like January 2020. But,
okay.
But still.
Maybe this.
I don't think it was, because the Naomi that I remember working with, I always thought she was pretty good at her job.
Yeah.
And which was notable because most people there
weren't.
Not. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why you would want to be even. At the end, I waited over 10 minutes for a raspberry lemonade refill. She served others and brought others drinks as I patiently waited for mines. And when she finally brought it...
Wait, mine apostrophe S?
Nope.
Just mines, okay.
Like
a minefield.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And when she finally brought it, it was the wrong drink, and obviously dirty glass. This whole situation
Yeah.
was just so wrong. God, Jacqueline,
Jacqueline.
you are a scholar of writing.
Here's
I can
the
tell
thing.
you that.
You can't complain about somebody and then totally fuck up your complaint.
Exactly. And also, so far, all I've heard is that you didn't get refills on the shit that you needed when you probably didn't need refills. And you waited for a refill of a drink. Why? Go buy a raspberry lemonade at the store.
Well, is there more?
Oh, there's
a lot more?
Yeah.
Should we? Okay, well, the first thing I want to say, the raspberry lemonade at Olive Garden, like the specialty drinks, those are made by the bartender, which the bartender then passes through a tiny little window.
Yeah.
And then you have to wait for the bartender. And if the bartender is busy, like serving the guests at the bar, like they should be, you're just fully at their mercy.
Yeah.
And so there'll be 10 or people like crowding around the breadstick thing.
Yeah.
There'll be people just crowding around going, do you have this, peach Bellini or whatever
Yeah.
for my table? And they're like, no, so you just have to do everything else that you can.
Yeah. And you're obviously serving others because guess what, Jacqueline? You are not Naomi's only table.
Yeah.
I don't understand the selfishness of people at restaurants.
Yeah.
You are not that server's only table unless you are at a restaurant that has one table.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, the thing about Olive Garden, and like I said, only having 3 tables, you only can have 3 tables because that shit keeps you busy with all the fucking soup, salad, and bread.
Yeah.
Like, there are times that I had 4 or 5 tables, and I could survive on 4 sometimes. Once you get up to 5, oh my God, it's way too much.
I bet.
The place I'm at now, I mean, I've had 10, 12 tables at one time.
Yeah.
And it's like amazing. I'm super stressed,
Yeah.
but like I can do it.
Right. It's
12
manageable.
tables at Olive Garden, you can't even fathom.
No,
half
I
of
couldn't
that.
imagine that.
Yeah.
I could
Oh,
not
my
imagine that.
Anyways.
Anyway, here we go with Jacqueline. Also, she has to reiterate this again. Also, we weren't offered any more salad, but I've read others' review. I'm reading in this as she's Jesus.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to ask or are they supposed to ask me? Because the waitress never approached me. I had to wave her down. Others have complained about the same thing. Great, Jacqueline. Like, you're not speaking for them. Shut your mouth.
Yeah. Well, also does she think the people that work there, don't get me wrong, as somebody who was always I always try to do my best. I hated it, but I would always still offer if I could.
Right.
I hated it when they would say yes.
Yeah.
But you have to offer.
You have to offer.
Because if you aren't you're gonna get a shitty tip.
Exactly.
So I kind of get it, and maybe we don't know the full context of Naomi's shift that day.
Right.
In all fairness, it's possible that she was busy.
I'm sure she was.
I think that might have been a little more on Naomi to at least ask a manager.
But
Can you go get them a salad refill?
But I don't know if I believe Jacqueline.
Yeah, I guess
as
that's
much.
valid. We don't know if she's
You know,
she might
Jacqueline
not be a
sounds
reliable narrator.
And I'm betting that they got refills, but they probably got so many that Naomi was probably like, I'm not gonna bring another one.
Or Naomi may have just assumed after 18 salads that it was enough.
Yeah, you don't want another one.
Yeah.
This is the part that really gets me going.
Yeah.
We also overheard her telling the table next to us that when people don't pay their bill, that when people dine and dash, Olive Garden's insurance covers the unpaid bill so the restaurant doesn't lose any money. She explained that very loudly, and I thought it was rude that she didn't come by our table telling the same gossip because I wanted to know what had happened recently too. Oh my, Jacqueline.
Wait, so Jacqueline thinks, oh my God. Okay. It's funny enough that she thinks that she's like upset that Naomi didn't come tell them that.
Yeah.
And that like that's part of her complaint.
Right.
But she clearly heard Naomi telling them about it.
Yeah.
So she got the same information.
Yeah. Maybe Jacqueline, I obviously wasn't there, but in my mind, how it went down is, Jacqueline, you probably are not that nice of a person.
Yeah.
And you probably were not nice to Naomi when she greeted you.
Yeah.
And Naomi probably did get you what you needed, but you wanted for so much that you didn't need.
Yeah.
And why would she want to tell somebody like you any information like that? You obviously would go and tell the manager, you little tattletale.
Yeah.
But also, like, you don't sound like a nice person, so therefore you're not owed that.
Yeah, you're definitely not owed that. I mean, you can be there. You can have a whole debate about giving people what they need versus what they want, and I kind of feel like if they want it, then it might as well be that they need it,
Sure.
regardless of whether there's stuff in their face full of breadsticks.
Sure.
But the gossip thing, that's just silly. And that's at a server's discretion to invite somebody in
Exactly.
to like mention things. Like, sometimes you have tables that you really get along with. They ask you about your personal
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And
They probably
you
asked her
tell
her
them.
name even.
Well, you have to have a name tag.
Oh, you
at
do
the-
it?
at
Oh, you
Olive
do?
Garden.
Oh, okay.
You have to have a name tag.
We don't have name
I
tags.
think.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
I
you
think
definitely do. You have like a button and it says
Well,
like
or they. Oh yeah.
it says some stupid like I remember mine said Hospitaliano on it.
Oh.
Yeah, and it came
oh.
with a loaded gun
Yeah.
in case I wanted to. Came with a big bottle of pills. No, I'm just
Yeah, they just took down.
Whatever.
Yeah, I think that Jacqueline, I don't think like go find friends the normal way.
yeah, get that gossip.
Yeah,
Go watch Jerry Springer and
Yeah.
feel better.
seriously.
Not Olive Garden's job.
Then she goes, the manager removed the lemonade from our bill and made us feel really valued when he only discounted $10 off our bill. Well, your bill was probably $15, so
Wait.
that's probably it.
Oh, she meant sarcastically. It made.
I don't think she's capable of sarcasm, so I think that was real.
Oh, so she actually felt valued because of the $10.
Yeah. Because he took $10 off their bill.
Wow.
But when I went through my bill, there were 2 coffees added that I never ordered. Wow. I told him he removed them but didn't do anything extra to compensate for his mistake.
Oh my God.
Jacqueline, you are just looking for free shit.
Yeah, that happens all the time at Olive Garden. This is a lot's coming back to me. When something gets fucked up, whether it's like the food takes too long, first of all, most servers, especially servers at corporate places like that, they don't have the authority
No.
to comp shit for you.
No.
They just don't, like the computer system will not let them.
Yeah,
So,
like-
so unless they don't send something in and then they like ask the bartender, will you make this for me even though I don't send it in? There's no way for them to take it off without telling the manager, who probably isn't going to do that.
Right.
And a lot of times, if there is a small problem, servers generally, first of all, I guess probably don't want to acknowledge it, which is maybe its own issue. But if it's a small problem, nobody's going to think it's a small problem. Like you bring out the wrong food and then the right food comes out a minute and a half later. That's not worthy of you getting a free meal. That's an honest mistake, and it happens.
And here's my thing is the manager took off your lemonade that you just couldn't live without.
Right.
And
$10.
$10, and you saw 2 coffees on there, but you didn't pay for them. You just
Yeah.
saw them on there, and you're like, "Oh no, these aren't ours." Why the fuck do you deserve something free for that? Why do you deserve
yeah.
something on the house? Like that's such a like a greedy thing. Oh, we almost paid for 2 coffees that are probably $1.50 to $2 each,
Yeah.
and that was close. And like that's so ridiculous.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. No, the $10, and even if you did deserve something, the $10 covers that
Covers it.
because the raspberry lemonade is like $3.50.
You got 2 coffees. I have to think that coffees can't cost more than $3.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are 3 exactly.
Yeah. And for you to say do anything extra?
There were a lot of people that like I would have the manager would have to talk to me and explain to me that my table was upset with me because I didn't offer them anything free. Mm-hmm. And it's like, how can that be the expectation
Yeah.
when like the slightest mistake is made?
Because it's corporate.
And it's one thing if it's like, will you ask your manager if we can get free stuff? Because if it's within the realm of reason, like, actually a couple weeks ago, I had a table where, usually I'm working by myself, but sometimes there'll be another server there and we split the tables, but we don't split the tables like where some of those are her tables and some are mine.
Right.
We just both work on all the tables together.
Got it.
But we have to really communicate a lot. And this one particular table, we thought that their order, like I thought she had put their order in, she thought that I had done it, but nobody had done it. And so they had to sit around and wait for 20, 25 minutes until we realized that there was no food in for them. And we were busy and it was going to take us probably another 15, 20 minutes to
Right.
get their food ready. And they were like, can we get a free round of beers? And I was like, that's really reasonable. I can't say yes, but let me go ask my manager.
Totally.
He ended up giving them like, I think a couple appetizers, taking
Yeah.
the money off for that. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
But it's like, because they had to wait like an extra 40 minutes or
Yeah.
whatever.
Of course.
But good Lord.
But because somebody
Stuff people expect.
that statement is that's so gross, and it just makes me look at this person like such a gross person. Like you, that's so gross to me.
Yeah. It's
She's
unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
Is there more?
There's a couple more.
Okay. All right.
She goes, it's weird they remove an item from your bill but sneak in another. The cups are dirty. Be careful. And then in
That's a non
parentheses,
sequitur.
yeah. Then in parentheses, she has, I have no idea why that cup was so dirty. Did they not use soap or not use hot water? Did she knowingly bring me a used cup? I'm so disgusted and disappointed. I think I'm never drinking from a glass again. Only plastic to-go cups for me. Well, that also makes you a piece of shit because that's bad for the environment.
Yeah. Damn, Jacqueline. You got
Jacqueline,
some problems.
you are a terrible, terrible. Oh, and look, God, your photo says it all.
Is there a photo?
She's reviewed a Wendy's. She's reviewed a Wendy's.
Okay, here's part of the problem. Standards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? The standards for a place like Olive Garden should not be that all of the glasses are immaculate. They're not supposed to be. It's Olive Garden. How can you review a Wendy's? Here's the thing. If a Wendy's is shitty, like if it sucks and there's poop in the toilet, in all the toilets and on the walls and the tables and chairs, that's within the margin of reason for a Wendy's. That it's Wendy's.
She's trying to accuse Wendy's of giving her uncooked chicken in her nuggets.
Oh, Jacqueline.
Jacqueline, do you not know that shit comes already cooked to them? It's already frozen
There's
cooked.
no way to uncook it.
It's already, that shit has been cooked and sat and cooked and sat.
And then frozen, but
And then
fully cooked.
frozen.
It's just a matter of warmth.
She took photos of her nuggets.
Can we look at them?
Of course. This is her review to Wendy's.
The world is really out to get you, Jacqueline.
Yeah, must be.
Is my hypothesis.
She goes, I ordered a 6-piece spicy chicken nugget. They served me cold fries and a raw chicken. She goes, cold fries and raw chicken / undercooked. The manager, Rachel Regal, didn't apologize. And when I asked her, she can't spell, for the name of the person who cooked the food, her as their manager said she didn't know who cooked my nuggets because everyone was saying it was not them. Horrible customer service and horrible manager if she can't even track down who's on what station.
Wow.
These are the photos that she took.
Those look just like normal nuggets.
Yeah.
Also, of course, those are her fingernails.
I know. And she goes, you could tell it's undercooked because it's soggy in the middle. Bitch, how the fuck are we supposed to know it's soggy?
Tell from a photo if it's soggy.
You can't tell from a fucking photo.
And she has these big red, like, fake nails.
Yeah, that she probably never wipes her ass with because I don't know how you would.
Yeah.
Jacqueline, just stop, girl.
Oh my God.
Go take a kindness class.
Yeah, expectations, people. It's Olive Garden.
She also 1-star review to Red Lobster. I'm starting to see a trend here, Jacqueline. 1-star to Bossa Nova Brazilian cuisine.
Okay, but the thing is, though, like,
1-star to a spa, 1-star to another place.
A spa?
She literally, this is her review to this. It's Lux Nail Spa. The Asian ladies don't care about what you want. If you complain, they'll just get frustrated and stop working. Oh my God.
Maybe when you complain, Jacqueline. I think part of the problem is that nobody's rating Olive Garden on a scale from like McDonald's to fine dining. You have to rate Olive Garden on a scale from bad Olive Garden to good Olive Garden. But you have to give Olive Garden the credit it deserves for being an Olive Garden, which is to say not that great. And it's the same with Wendy's and all these other places that it sounds like Jacqueline is a frequent patron of. You can't expect 5-star dining when it's an Olive Garden. And so if you're going to give an Olive Garden 5 stars, that means that probably compared to fine dining, it was like 2.5 stars.
Yeah.
But for an Olive Garden, it can be good. Like there's a different scale. You have to rate something based on what it's trying to be. And an Olive Garden is trying to be no more than an Olive Garden.
But I'm also,
which is not good.
The fact that you reviewed all of these terrible restaurants acting like you should have been getting, like, Jacqueline, just stop, dude. Just stop.
Seriously.
You are literally an issue with the world, and you need to reevaluate your life.
Yeah, she's got problems.
You got some problems there, girlfriend.
Seriously.
I'm telling you.
You should reach out.
We should reach out.
We should have her on the pod.
Oh my God, I should
Jacqueline.
have her chime in.
I'll come back. Yeah, have her call in.
Yeah, talk to us. We'll turn this from a podcast into like a therapy session for people with bad reviews on Yelp.
That would be so much fun. And what were you thinking when you got the manager's first and last name apparently at the Wendy's?
Yeah. What was your no? She couldn't tell if the name was Rachel or Regal.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Jacqueline, write in. Can I get some ranchpodcast at gmail.com with a review on this podcast? I would love it, and I'll read it, and it'll be awesome.
Do you think she asked for ranch at Red Lobster?
No. She sure did. Well, I was kind of looking at something. She asked something extra sauce, and they were going to charge her, and she was not happy with that.
We charge for Ranch at my current restaurant, we charge 50 cents
Everywhere it does now.
for ranch, unless it's the wings come with ranch.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
But it's ranch. It's good.
Yeah.
Why
And
do-
it's
why do-
still a product that should be bought.
Why do places charge for ranch but not like we'll give out like jalapenos and shit for free,
I don't know.
but not ranch?
Because it's a harder price point, I think. Like, how do you regulate that? You know?
valid. Yeah, because you have to buy the bottle of ranch.
Right.
We're buying jalapenos by the vague amount.
Yeah, and if you're like they wanted 2 slices of jalapeno, what are you gonna be like? Charge them 2 pennies. I swear you
guess
better put it on. You know,
yeah, that's true.
like we at my old job, we would give out like a grilled jalapeno and it'd be $1, but it's the whole jalapeno.
Yeah, fair.
You know, so
Crazy.
I know. Anything you want to plug right now? Anything you got going on?
We have. So I am the host and co-producer of a monthly stand-up comedy show called Happy Thoughts.
It's a great show.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were on our first one.
I know, it was awesome.
That was such an amazing show.
Such a good show.
But we took a couple months off, but our next show is going to be Friday, March 11th at the Airliner in Lincoln Heights, which is in like East LA. So Friday, March 11th, Happy Thoughts Comedy. We are on Instagram at Happy Thoughts Comedy. And I'm on Instagram at JT Tomlinson. I never plug my social media.
You should. You
Yeah,
should. Well,
at
I'll
JT Tomlinson.
add
Follow
it to
me.
the posts too, so they'll be able to
sweet.
just click and go.
Perfect.
Yeah, JT, thank you so much for being on the podcast. This was
So much fun.
So much fun. I feel like we're probably gonna have to have you on again because I don't feel like we covered half of what
Not
we
at
could
all.
have.
I would love to come back.
Yeah, we'll definitely have you back on. Until then, everyone, just be nice to your wait staff, and yeah, that's it.
And good luck getting that ranch.
Good luck in that ranch.